Good morning, there you are. This is Zen Fitz from Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. And the title of today's talk is The Vow That Won't Break. The Vow That Won't Break. Today is a rather auspicious day for me. It's Father's Day, and it's also my wedding anniversary, June 18th. My wife and I were married just down the street here in Blackstone at the Baptist Church in 1960. So we're 63 years married this year. And so I wanted to, the title of this talk, as I said, is The Vow That Won't Break. Now I'm really, of course, I've been 63 years married. I'm probably been married longer than most of you. In fact, I may be older than most of you since I'm 86. You whippersnappers, you're still sucking your thumb. So anyway, I'm kind of like an expert in marriage. But not just because I've been married 63 years. So let me tell you my story. So I was married in I was in the Navy, and I married a college girl from Longwood, and then I stayed in the Navy a year longer to help her pay for her last year. I was in a Baptist church, her church. I wasn't going to church. I was in the Navy. But anyway, so we took the vow, fed the cake, did the wedding. But it didn't hold. This vow didn't hold. I had a question. Who am I? Am I just this we of the marriage for the rest of my life? Is this it? Something inside of me was bubbling and yearning and crying out to discover, who am I? What am I? What am I? So the marriage container began to be small. So I had some 1968. So this is 8 years after marriage. So I had rather profound samadhi or spiritual experience that totally changed the direction of my life. And I went to Cleveland to found a guru, and we went to Cleveland. And the marriage began to stretch and couldn't contain, for me anyway, couldn't contain this, who am I? What am I? This bodiless child full of voice crying in a frog voice. This is a poem. This child full of, now I forgot it. Anyway. So I got divorced. My wife didn't want to get divorced, but I had to get divorced because I could not be contained. This urge was driving me. I didn't know what it was, where it was going, but I knew it had to break free. So I broke the vow. And then we were divorced for 2 years, and I had another spiritual awakening, so to speak, in the ashram of Swami Muktananda, and I knew I would get remarried. So we got remarried by Swami Muktananda in his ashram in Fallsburg. And he talked about this vow, don't break the vow, don't break the vow. So I decided that, and I knew that I could continue my spiritual journey while in the container, in the marriage. And but ironically, and this is where I could say this, so I failed at the first marriage, and then I got divorced, and I failed at divorce, and I got remarried. But ironically, we were living in Cleveland, and we went to South Fallsburg in New York for the big wedding, Guru Purnima, the full moon of July, and but I didn't have enough time to get a New York marriage license, so we'll put it off, get it later. Never did. We moved to Virginia, and then I get 10, 15, I don't know, 15 years later, I decided that this limbo of not having a license was no good. And so I got a marriage license and arranged a marriage at the courthouse, and tricked my wife into stopping by the courthouse for something else, and there the justice of the peace was waiting, and we were married. So we had 3 marriages. Anyway, so here we are 63 years later. And my yoga practice, my Buddha practice, my Zen practice, my awakening practice has finally discovered, it's taken a long time, how to awaken in the world, in your marriage, how to keep the vow, no matter what, you see. And I've discovered that this vow, this marriage vow of the sacred marriage, now the physical marriage, the ego marriage, the personal marriage, the common marriage, you see, is they're breaking up. People can't hold the vow because they can't contain their growth, their journey, their expansion, their discovery gets contained in a contract, where it's, oh, if you cheat, if you do anything to break the vow, that's it, you see. But how do you get in? You have to break through that ironclad vow to get to the spiritual vow of the sacred marriage, which is the vow that will not break no matter what the world does, that will not break no matter what your mind does, that will not break no matter what circumstances happen, what changes happen. The vow holds. The vow holds. Why? Because it's not a marriage vow. It's a spiritual vow. And I've come to realize it's the vow of the Bodhisattva. Now in Zen, which is my practice, it's the practice of the Bodhisattva. And the Bodhisattva arouses prajna, or your soul, or your wisdom, or your creativity, or your true self is aroused. That does not rest on anything. It does not rest on any contract. It does not rest on any marriage contract. It does not rest on a contract with a job. It doesn't rest on anything in the world at all. It's free from the world. So this Bodhisattva vow is free to grow in the world, in the marriage, no matter what, you see. So you stay in. So the Bodhisattva is a Zen role model, so to speak. But the Bodhisattva in Buddhism stays in the world. Doesn't leave it for a better place. Doesn't leave it for nirvana. Doesn't go leave it for a monastery. Doesn't go leave it for a guru. Doesn't leave it for another woman or a man. Doesn't leave it for anything. Stays in the world. The Bodhisattva stays in samsara. Stays in your world to work from within in an alchemy of Zen, so to speak. It takes your everyday world, your marriage, your everyday world, your job, your children, your family, your suffering, your catastrophe, the whole catastrophe. It stays in that and transmutes it from within. This is alchemy. It takes the base metal of lead, so to speak, the mud, and it grows, it transmutes the base metal into gold. Or in Zen, it transmutes the mud into a lotus. So this vow cannot be really a vow of, well, I'm going to do it no matter. It can't be a means to an end. This vow is kind of like a vow that does you. Instead of you doing the vow, oh, I got to stick to it no matter what. I made a vow. No, no. The vow does you. The vow does you. And this changes everything. This makes your marriage a constant place of alchemy where the little day snits, the little day snafus, the arguments, the neurosis, the perks, and the all the little nagging inconveniences of marriage and everything is transmuted into metaphors for awakening. The marriage becomes a metaphor for your awakening. So this way, the marriage is the only place where you can really awaken, because it's the marriage that pushes the buttons you need to transcend the reactions of the ego, the resistance of the ego, the hardening of the ego. The sacred marriage, the bodhisattva marriage, you see, is a laboratory. Yes, it's a laboratory where you can melt your resistance to love, your resistance to being in the world. There is no separate world. There's no better world. There's no better world with that person or that job or that location. It's all one world and you're it. So the vow of the sacred marriage is a marriage to the world through the metaphorical help of the physical marriage. The marriage then becomes your laboratory for being free from attachments to your ego, which is the world. So gradually, your whole resistance and rigidity begins to melt in the sacred marriage. So anyway, here we are, 63 years, and I'm pumped up and ready to go. Thanks for dropping in.